Lev finds them a place to sleep that night. It's the best they've had yet, a motel room. Finding it wasn't all that hard to do. He scouted out a rundown motel without many cars out front. Then it was just a matter of finding an unlocked bathroom window in an unoccupied room. As long as they kept the curtains drawn and the lights off, no one would know they were there. My genius keeps rubbing off on you, Sci-Fi tells him, sighs back to his old self. Like the incident that morning never happened. Only it did happen, and they both know it. Outside, they hear a car door open. Lev and Sai prepare to bolt if a key turns in the motel room lock. But it's another door they hear opening, a few rooms away. Sai shakes out his tension, but Lev doesn't relax. Not yet. I want to know about today, Lev says. It's not a question. It's a request. Sai is unconcerned. Ancient history, he says. Leave the past in the past and live for the moment. That's wisdom you can take to the grave and dig it up when you need it. What if I dig it up right now? Lev takes a moment to let it sink in. Then he reaches into his pocket and pulls out the diamond bracelet. He holds it in front of him, making sure the streetlight spilling through a slit in the curtain catches the diamonds so they glisten. Where'd you get that? Sci-Fi's voice has lost all the playfulness it had only a second ago. I kept it, Lev says calmly. I thought it might come in handy. I told you to get rid of it. It wasn't yours to get rid of. After all, you said it yourself. You didn't steal it. Lev twists the bracelet so a diamond refracts a sparkle of light right into Sci-Fi's eye. Without the room lights on, Lev can't see much, but he can swear he sees Sci-Fi's cheek starting to twitch. Sai stands up, looming over Lev. Lev stands as well, a full head shorter than Sci-Fi. You take that out of my face, says Sci-Fi, or I swear I'm gonna pound you into pork rinds. Lev thinks he might actually do it too. Sci-Fi clenches his fists. With the bandages, he looks like a boxer, hands wrapped before putting on the gloves. Still, Lev doesn't back down. He just dangles the bracelet. It sends little twinkling lights flitting around the room like a lazy disco ball. I'll put it away if you tell me why this bracelet and all those other things wound up in your pockets. Put away first, then I'll tell you. Fair enough. Lev slips the bracelet back into his pocket and waits. But Sci-Fi isn't talking. So Lev gives him a little prompt. What's his name? Lev asks. Or is it a she? Sci-Fi's shoulders slump in defeat. He crumples into a chair. Lev can't see his face at all now in the darkness, so Lev listens closely to his voice. As long as it still sounds like Sai's voice, he knows that Sai's okay. Lev sits himself on the edge of the bed a few feet away from Sai and listens. It's a he, Sai says. I don't know his name. He must have kept his name in another part of his brain. All I got was his right temporal lobe. That's only an eighth of the cerebral cortex, so I mean, I'm 7/8 me and 1/8 him. I figured that was it. Lev had realized what was going on with Sai even before he stole the bandages from the pharmacy. Sai gave him the clue himself. Do it before he changes my mind, Sai had said. So, he was a shoplifter? He had problems. I guess those problems are what his parents had him unwound in the first place. And now one of his problems is mine. Wow, that sucks. Sci-fi laughs bitterly at that. Yeah, Fry, it does. It's kind of like what happened to my brother Ray, says Lev. He went to his this government auction thing, ended up with 10 acres on a lake, and it cost next to nothing. Then he finds out that the land came with a bunker full of toxic chemicals seeping into the ground. Now he owned it, so now it was his problem. Cost him almost 10 times the cost of the land to clean up the chemicals. Sucker, says Sai. Yeah, but then those chemicals weren't in his brain. Sai looks down for a moment. He's not a bad kid. He's just hurting. Hurting real bad. The way Sai's talking, it's like the kid is still there, right in the room with him. He's got this urge about him to grab things like an addiction, you know? Shiny things mostly. It's not like he really wants them. It's just like he can needs to snap them up. I figure he's a kleptomaniac. That means, ah, hell, you know what it means. So he talks to you? No, not really. I didn't get the part of him that uses words. I get feelings mostly. Sometimes images, but usually just feelings, urges. When I get an urge and I don't know where it's coming from, I know it's from him. Like the time I saw this Irish setter on the street and I wanted to go over and pet it. I'm not a dog person, see? But all of a sudden, I just had to pet that pooch. Now that Sai's talking about it, he can't stop. It's all spilling out like water over a dam. Petting that dog was one thing, but stealing is another. The stealing makes me mad. I mean, here I am, a law abiding citizen, never took nothing that didn't belong to me my whole life, and now I'm stuck with this. There's people out there, like the lady in the Christmas store, they see a number kid like me and they automatically assume I'm up to no good. And now, thanks to this kid in my head, they're right. And you want to know what's funny? This kid was Lily Sienna, like you. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Hearing that surprised Lev, not the description, but the fact that Sai can describe him at all. You know what he looked like? Sci-fi nods. I can see him sometimes. It's hard, but sometimes I can. Close my eyes and imagine myself looking into a mirror. Usually I just see myself reflected, but once in a while I can see him. It's only for an instant. Kind of like trying to catch a bolt of lightning after you've already seen the flash. But other people, they don't see him when he steals. It's me they see. My hands grabbing. The people who matter knows it's not you, your dad's. They don't even know about this, I says. They think they did me a favor sticking me with this brain chunk. If I told them about it, they feel guilty until the end of time, so I can't tell them. Lev doesn't know what to say. He wishes he'd never brought it up. He wishes he hadn't insisted on knowing. But most of all, he wishes Sai didn't have to deal with this. He's a good guy. He deserves a better break. And this kid, he doesn't even understand he's a part of me, Sai says. It's like those ghosts that don't know they're dead. He keeps trying to be him and can't understand why the rest of him ain't there. All of a sudden, Lev realizes something. He lived in Joplin, didn't he? Sai doesn't answer for a long time. That's how Lev knows it's true. Finally, Sai says, there are things he still got locked up in my brain that I can't get at. All I know is that he's got to go to Joplin, so I got to go there too. Once we're there, maybe he'll leave me alone. Sci-fi shifts his shoulders, not in a shrug, but in an uncomfortable roll. Like when you get an itch in your back or a sudden shiver. I don't want to talk about him no more. His 1/8 feels a whole lot bigger when I spend time hanging around in his gray matter. Lep wants to put his arm around Sai's shoulder like an older brother to comfort him, but he just can't bring himself to do it. So instead, he pulls the blanket from the bed and wraps it around Sai as he sits in the chair. What's this all about? Just making sure you two stay warm. And then he says, don't worry about anything. I've got it all under control. Sci-fi laughs. You? You can't even take care of yourself, and now you think you're gonna take care of me? If it weren't for me, you'd be still chowing down on other folks' cabbage back at the mall. That's right. But you helped me. Now it's my turn to do the same for you. And I'm going to get you to Joplin.